Yeah, go ahead. Am I the only one not able to hear him, or
his audio
Yeah,
is
it
no
sounds
good.
like a helicopter, man.
Yes. Please mute yourself. Use
Yeah,
Civil
he's
Coalition.
got to reset his mic, man.
Civil Coalition, you'll have to come back and fix your mic. You're having audio issues. Come back. But let me move it over to Demolish. Richard, welcome to the panel.
Wow. Holy fuck.
I think I caught Richard. Welcome to the panel. Am I correct, or am I being rude?
Yeah.
Peace
No,
and
you're.
respect to you
I
all,
called on you. Yeah.
and God's love. I'm waiting to catch up, but I think that there's so much evidence on one side of the argument and none on the other. And really, the Christians who base their belief in flat Earth on the text of the Bible, they're reading a translation and they're looking at it in perhaps a 6th or 8th grade reading level.
Okay. Can you elaborate, Richard? So the flat Earth. So flat Earth Christians are reading the Bible at a 7th grade, 8th grade level. You're saying so they're not interpreting the Bible correctly. Is that what I heard?
Yes. I mean, we need to understand the perspective from which those verses are written. They're not written from an earthly perspective. They're written from a heavenly perspective. And it's just like Sagan called the view from the rings of Saturn, called that view of the Earth the blue dot. Indeed, if you're far enough away observing this planet, it just looks like a disk, like a dot. But I don't think the text is trying to say that.
Okay. Do you have any more like evidence to other than the Bible? Do you have any other evidence that proves that the globe Earth model is correct? You're muted, sir.
I would.
New Civ, you're still jacked up, dude. You're gonna have to come back in or something. I don't know if you're trolling or what, man. Your mic's jacked up, man. You gotta undo that.
The mic is on Demolish. Demolish, I asked you a question. Do you have any further proof other than the Bible to substantiate that the flat Earth model is incorrect versus the heliocentric model? Are you there, sir?
I have a. I'm sorry, I was just trying to wait my turn because other people were speaking. I have this that I'm using as an icon presently, and if you brought that up larger to where everyone could see it, I would certainly appreciate it. Okay. All right. So here's the issue. Thank you. So here's the issue, as I see it, that is only one of several evidences that the Earth casts a shadow across itself, that it has a curvature to it, and here is the evidence that I have right now. Even if I move the sun off of the equator, or approximately the equator, all the way out to the ice wall on a flat Earth map, the equidistant green rays that represent sunlight here, those are copied and pasted. They're precisely the same length. I just changed the angles of them because we can all agree that there's a 12-hour day, and that, say, when Africa is in daylight, so is Australia. I think we all agree upon that. The problem with it is that if they were equidistant, the light would extend the same distance all the way to the Panama Canal, as you can see below the United States. So it doesn't go to the Panama Canal. Well, how can we resolve this in a flat Earth model? What we would need is increased opacity along that purple-yellow north-south, yes, as we're facing.
Richard, you have used this argument before. I remember. Yes, I think most flat earthers are quite familiar with this model. So we understand your position, sir, regarding the light.
I have not got to finish last time, and I'm not getting to finish this time. Is there some purpose behind that?
Okay, go ahead. No. You are welcome to finish. Go ahead.
Can you mute Civil?
What's that choppy noise, man? That's
It's new civil
Coming
coalition.
from New Civil.
Flurfs can't
Thank you.
tech.
Thank you, sir. So the problem is that we need an increased opacity that follows the sun, where that light does not go beyond it to cause darkness on the other half of the map. I don't think that there's any rational explanation as why air in one area would be more opaque than other areas. And I don't see any reason why that air movement would rotate with the sun when we know that air currents do not rotate with the sun. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna give you one more chance, New Civil Coalition, to chime in. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to boot you out of here. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, your mic is not working. This is very painful for the rest of us. So please maybe come back when things are operating correctly over there. I do apologize. I don't know what the problem is. Thank you, sir, for your patience and understanding. Go ahead and try to fix that yourself. Anybody want to respond to Richard's point? Go ahead, Dave. I think you got your finger raised up.
I actually wanted to touch on what somebody was said a couple speakers ago about correlation and it leading to a belief, right? And one of the things like that, for instance, let's suppose that Monday through Saturday, I see a little red sedan goes by my house at a certain time. And shortly after that red sedan goes by, my mail gets delivered. Now on Sunday, that red sedan doesn't go by and my mail isn't delivered either. So I conclude from that red car passing my house is the cause of my mail being delivered. I could make that correlation, right? But it's not necessarily true, but it could be. It could be an indication. So let's suppose that the guy that drives by right before my mail gets delivered is actually the postman on his way to work. And then he's actually gets in his mail truck and he comes and delivers my mail. So indirectly, that was the cause of it. But I just assumed that the red car going by meant that my mail would be delivered. Now that's in a real stretch of a case, but you can't necessarily take an observation and make a correlation to something. You see what I'm saying? Based on mere observation. And that's what I wanted to touch on that. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what goes on. I like to keep to, I'm like you are. Looking into the sky is really kind of retarded when you're looking at the condition of where you're standing. That's first and foremost in my book. I mean, that makes as much sense as me checking my ceiling to see if my floor is level. It doesn't make any sense. One has nothing to do with the other. And so this all the time when they want to say, see, we've known that Earth is a globe for so many thousands of years, and I'm like, wait a second, where did you get your R value? How did you get this? Is the horizon optical or is it physical? It's optical and it always is changing. So where are you first off getting your R value from? You go into it with the assumption of a sphere, and then you work around that to make a mathematical equation that reifies your assumption. And that's exactly what they've done. So they want to hit you with that shit and then say, well, look, we have math. Well, math is not necessarily reality. Okay. For instance, if I have 3 unicorns traveling down a path and they come to a meadow and there's 4 unicorns and they get together, how many unicorns do I have? None, because unicorns don't exist. You see what I'm trying to get at? The assumption that we actually have unicorns, the math works out to be 7 of them.
Fake news. Unicorns written. The unicorn's written about in the Bible, so fake news.
No, that was the rhinoceros. You know what I'm getting at. You know what I'm getting at. You know what I'm getting at. A mythological thing. And just because the math works out to tell us that we have 7 of these mythological creatures does not necessarily mean that the mythological creatures exist.
Okay,
Can
Dave.
I respond to that?
Yeah, Dave. We got your point. Go ahead, Brenda.
Oh, well, you notice that the first premise was if. So if I have 3 unicorns
Mhm.
and I add 4 more, I will have 7 unicorns. If.
Mhm.
Secondly, it is an entailment of the widely used model by Flat Earth Dave. It is an entailment that
Okay.
that given a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, that would falsify it, right? And lastly, right? So it is not an entailment that if your floor is flat, that if your ceiling is curved, therefore your floor is flat curved. That is not an entailment, right? So, and lastly, science is conducted by inductive, not deductive reasoning. Science operates by an inference to the best explanation, right? It is not a deductive science, it is inductive. It makes use sometimes of deductions based on hypotheses or generally accepted, widely accepted truths. But at its heart, it is an empirical deductive. It is not an abstract analytic deductive science. Mathematics
Okay, you
is
made
a
your point.
deductive science.
You made your point. Thank you. 1 second, David. Did you want to respond?
Oh, I heard the key word. I think astronomy or the Bohr belief is a reductive hypothesis. It has no physical proof from the physical reality. I agree with this. Science should be inductive. You observe a phenomenon in nature, and then you try to do the math. Because, well, I don't know how you Brenda, you ended up at the Bohr side, because your statement is correct, but I don't know how you reason.
I reason inductively. I reason inductively by an inference to the best explanation. That's how.
It's not explanation. It's the experiment. You don't. Okay. Do you know how to measure the Earth radius or the Moon radius? Because it's all given. Huh? It's
yeah. You can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
Well, to measure the radius of the Moon, you would need to know the distance, right, and then the angle, and given those the angle
distance?
and
how
the
do you
distance,
measure the distance?
You could do that by bouncing radar off of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you measure the Earth radius?
You don't need to measure the Earth radius. You
What
measure
do you mean?
its.
What do you mean?
If you have a triangle, right, you have an angle, right, theta, and then you have a distance. You can calculate the diameter of the distant object.
What is
triangulation?
What is the reference distant object?
You measure the distance to the Moon by bouncing radar off of it. Right? That will give you the distance.
Okay. How do you measure the Earth radius step by step?
The Earth is the Earth's radius?
Yes.
By the transcontinental triangulation of the American arc.
Okay.
Right? By geodetic survey techniques, you measure spherical excess. And from that, you get enough examples together. You can compute the circumference, and then after that, the diameter.
You need the R value to be able to do that, Brendan.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Absolutely false.
Yes, you
spherical
do.
Spherical excess does not require.
Geodetic surveyors take sections of plane survey and then they add curvature to it, which they require to have an R value for. Where did you get the R value for the Earth?
Yeah, where
they measure spherical excess.
I don't care what they measure. They're only pasting it in there. I'm talking about in
No,
reality.
they don't
If you
paste
wanted
anything.
to measure, listen to me. If you wanted to measure the radius of the Earth, how would you do it?
By measuring spherical excess, and then from that calculating its circumference.
Well, you would have to do what? You would have to know where the horizon is, correct? You would have to know where the physical horizon is at. Yes, you would.
No, you measure
Absolutely.
point. No, that's not how geodetic surveying is done. They don't
You go
measure the
into it with
horizon.
already an assumed radius. You're already
No.
going into it.
They measure the angles
an assumed
between
radius.
different.
We're going to prove the radius.
They
Brenda,
measure
Brenda.
triangles.
Brenda, I give you this. There's a concept of reification fallacy, because
You don't know what that means.
The way you are expressing, the way you present how the
You don't know
radius
what
was measured
reification means,
is-
David.
because
Brenda,
you assume-
hold on one
you-
second.
Yeah.
Let him try to explain. Go ahead, David.
Because you already assume the shape of the Earth.
That's not reification.
It is because
One
No,
second,
it
just let him
isn't.
finish.
because
Just let him finish first.
Radius imply the shape of the Earth, because if you do not know the shape of the Earth, then you do not know how to apply the mathematical equations, because the shape of the Earth is still unknown. That's the
No,
definition
it
of
is known.
reification fallacy.
That's not, number one, that's not reification. You
That's-
don't know what that word means. Stop
You don't
using
know
words that
word
you
means
don't.
either.
I do. I
It
do.
turned out you
I
do
do.
not know either.
I do. It
You do
means
not
it.
know the word.
Yes, I
either.
do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
And
it doesn't
secondly,
matter.
we know
You are
the shape of
saying
the
you
Earth.
do is not a proof that you do. Okay.
Right? Yes. So we know the shape of the Earth,
You
and the
do not
Greeks
know.
knew it.
You
Excuse
do
me.
not
The
know.
Greeks knew. The Greeks knew the
You
shape
do
of the
not
Earth.
know. The Greeks is made up. The carbon dating technique is pseudoscience.
We're not talking that. We're not
Greeks
talking that.
Records are falsified. Okay.
No, they're not.
They
So,
are.
Again,
Carbon
just let me
dating
answer
is
your question, David.
pseudoscience.
Stop spurging out. Right. So the Greeks knew because
The Greek
they observed.
record is not
David,
approved.
David, sit down and
I'm
calm
sitting
down.
I'm sitting down.
Calm your tits, baby.
Yeah, but
So-
you
so-
don't have any proof. I'm just
So
telling you.
you're not letting me
is
talk.
not
You're
the
not
proof.
letting me talk. The Greeks knew that the Earth was a globe by observing its shadow on the moon, and they deduced that the only shape that consistently gives you a curved shadow is a sphere. That was a logical deduction based on observations.
Okay, Brenda, are you done for the
Do you
moment?
understand? Do you understand the point?
Yeah. Do you understand?
Do you
the point
understand
that
that-
carbon dating is
And,
not science? The Greek record is not proving anything. Do you understand this?
You're not saying anything.
You're not
You're just
saying
denying.
anything.
You're just denying
I'm
the
not-
Greeks. You're
I'm
denying
saying
the
you're
Greeks
not saying
existed.
anything. Exactly.
You're denying the Greeks existed. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the proof is the Greek record cannot be used as scientific proof.
Why not?
Because it's carbon dating is not science. Do you not understand?
Carbon dating is science,
It's
but
not
what does
science.
carbon dating have to do with making observations of lunar eclipses?
Because then the dating of all these records is not accurate. You don't
What
know how
difference
old
does it make if it was yesterday
you do not-
or 2,000 years ago? What difference does it make?
Then why don't you? With all today's technology, why don't you do it? Because
So
because
people
the
have
record-
done it. People
no,
have done it.
The record said they have done it, but there's no physical proof.
You can do it. You can observe.
Okay, did
You
do
can
it?
observe the shadow caused by.
Did you
David,
follow the? Did you
David,
follow the
listen.
Greek?
Listen, David, you could observe the shadow cast by the Earth on the moon. And over successive dozens of observations, the only shape you'll get is a curve. And the only solid shape that consistently casts a curved shadow is a sphere.
Is that
Okay.
all you have? Is that all you have?
All right, 1 second, everybody. David and Brenda, mute down. Raphael, go ahead.
Thank you. So, why? So, and thank you, David, for bringing that aspect up too. And of course, this is a broad topic, and how should I say this with all the honesty and curiosity, which I can only assume you share, Brenda. I do detect potentially some appeal to authority talking about ancient Greek history. Everyone is welcome to, for example, check out Nachiketa's channel or my channel for analysis on this. And there is very great issue, for example, with carbon dating. And just as you would rightfully complain about logical fallacies and those kind of appeals, this should be pointed out as well, that maybe here you are not exactly aware of all the, how should I say,
Debating this for
possibilities.
years. I know the objections
Oh,
to
that-
carbon dating.
Oh,
You're
it's
full-
okay.
You're
All right.
full of it. You're full of it.
Well,
You
then-
don't know. You don't know what you're talking about.
Of course, that must be the solution. I'll just finish the 3-4 more points. It's not so much. To anyone who has maybe difficulty understanding how some of the argumentation here is going on, and also here people may claim it's biased or not, but I found it quite soothing to watch sometimes, is the Mind Shock channel. This actually focuses on logical fallacies and analysis. Of course, there's different channels doing this maybe in a different way or with different premises. I find it quite, again, soothing to watch, to kind of understand why it seems that there is such a disconnect sometimes.
Mind Shock is a fool. He doesn't.
Of course, he would be in your mind. I can understand that, and that further exemplifies the issue, just what happened right now. And then Dave Sorensoul brought up Sabine Hossenfelder. She even says, like, she actually, her dream of joining the academics was faulted because she realized it's kind of a scam, or she's not happy with it, which is kind of funny that was her base position. That's how apparently she came to YouTube. And I also saw some of her videos doing research. But what's really crazy is you have even individuals like Asmongold, who is like one of the most famous World of Warcraft streamers of all things, and he does React videos, and he's by now reacting to Sabine Hossenfelder. So I just want to point out this meta thing going on. A few of you mentioned it. That's very obvious and very strange to me. I'm not saying that all of those are like plans or whatever, but even just the idea that this is now giving you views again, because for a few years this topic was pretty much banned out or more subdued. So there's something brewing for sure. And then one more fun thing, Sovereign Soul, what I always wanted to know, what do these background things do? Whenever I was watching a NASA movie, even back then, I was always like, why don't they go through explaining what this pipe is and what this computer does? And I want to know, it's a public project, publicly funded. And I was always confused why they would never explain any of that. Of course, now I have different models as to why they don't even bother going into properly explaining anything, at least from my point of view. And then I just want to reiterate, no matter what we are discussing about arguing logical fallacies, it's one thing, and logic, and it's always important to be aware of one's own base assumptions. Parrot brought out the idea about belief and knowledge, and that those are different things.
All knowledge is a type of belief.
Let me just finish, please.
Raphael, all knowledge.
Thank you. So just the base assumptions are incredibly important. This is an individual process. We all have to consistently, reinvestigate that, because any logic or anything we derive is from these base assumptions and beliefs. So it's very good to be as aware of those as possible. And also here to be able to hold different beliefs at the same time to really see what checks out more. And then just as a last point to reiterate and maybe encourage everyone to think and talk more about that. What is the meta angle here? A few of you have brought it up, and I think it's important. And even though, however, we may be cruising towards whatever kind of more truth, whatever it is, I think these discussions are incredibly important. The work and contributions all of you do, I think, are incredibly important, because if we do have the peripheral vision and check out all of that, then I think, how should I say, it just furthers the idea of a truth, or it furthers the idea of honest investigation when we are aware of all the, social factors, background factors, what's going on left and right. What is the media doing? Why is Captain Kirk going to Antarctica suddenly? To really be aware of that, I think, can be very helpful to maybe just preempt some confusion, or I don't want to use any harsher words than that, but I guess you all get my point. And I'd like to thank everyone on the panel, and Nachiketa in particular. Thanks.
Can I make a point about that? Which is, all knowledge.
Yeah, go ahead.
All knowledge is a type of belief. Knowledge is a subset of belief. Belief is mental content that you hold to be true. Knowledge is a belief that has a path of justification, and which is true. So if you hold if you believe you know something, that's a belief. If you don't have good reasons, no justification for it, that's not knowledge. And that's what flat earth is. Flat earth is a religious belief without any evidence or path of justification that guarantees its truth.
What's your path of justification for making that statement?
The scientific method.
Scientific method dictates that your globe is physically impossible.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
Prove
it
it.
absolutely
Prove
does.
What's the contradiction?
Huh? What do you mean? What's the contradiction?
Yeah, that's how you prove. Just so you know, so you can get
Wait a second.
elementary school logic in here.
No. You got this backwards, right? And it goes right back to my first fundamental question that I asked you earlier in the show. Okay, you had to be told that the Earth was a globe. Okay,
no, I was educated.
Yes,
I was educated.
No, whatever. It's still a way of telling you.
No,
okay? No, Brenda, I'm talking now. It's my turn. I didn't interrupt you. Now it's my turn. Okay. So it is very painfully obvious that the Earth being a globe, moving at tremendous speeds in 5 different directions, is a claim against observable reality. Otherwise, people would come to this conclusion all on their own. They never do.
That's false.
I'm not talking to you yet. I mean, it's not your turn, right? So people have been told this. No one here, whether you're a flat earther or a glober, because flat earthers used to be globers. We were indoctrinated the same way you were.
No, I was educated, not indoctrinated. That's you, not me.
Call it what you want to call it, okay? But the reality of it is, no one came to that idea on their own. It was given to you. And if it was never given to you, you would never come to that line of thinking ever in your entire life for any reason. There is no reason you would ever even start to entertain such a ridiculous concept.
That's just your claim. Back it up.
No, it's not, because
it's a claim.
The only thing you ever have is looking into the sky to determine what you're standing on. You cannot
observations.
You cannot demonstrate through scientific, repeatable, and demonstrable experimentation the impossibilities of physics that you postulate.
They're not impossible, and
they are absolutely.
So that's your claim. Prove it.
I just have a couple questions. Like, for example, I'm not saying the Earth is completely flat, and I'm not saying, and I'm not a globe truther either. But I do lean towards the notion that the Earth is flat because, for example, how is it that gravity can move trillions of tons of water every day back and forth through the waves? Yet it can allow a small little tiny, like eagle to fly and defy it and fly around the whole planet. Like, the whole physics of gravity itself doesn't make any sense on a globe Earth. And the other thing as well too is, how does it even keep all these trillions of tons of water on this globe and doesn't keep it flying off into space? Yet we can it allows us to fly airplanes and stuff and all of that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And another thing as well too is, as far as I can tell, given my direct experience, as I look out into the world looks flat, and it only makes sense that everything exists on a fairly flat plane. Like, for example, how is it that the people in Australia, for example, at the bottom of the globe, how come they're not standing upside down? It just the whole globe Earth model just doesn't make any sense on a number of levels.
Could I get a follow-up question on that, Joe?
Yeah.
What are clouds?
What are clouds? Is that the question?
Yeah, he said water doesn't come off the earth, but eagles fly. I want to know what clouds are.
Okay, that's to you, Just Skeptical, I think.
That's to me?
Yes, sir. Please.
I believe
You said
yeah, I
eagles
think
can
that's
fly, and that's defeating gravity, but water can't raise up off the earth. I want to know
No,
what you
what I'm
think
saying
clouds
is
are.
I just don't get the physics of the fact that like water with all its heaviness and density can stay rooted to the ocean floor, yet eagle, which is like a lot less
I'm sorry.
lighter than that,
I was able to quote you. I don't need you to repeat it. I'm asking you what clouds are, if you don't mind.
what's the relevance? I don't get it.
It's water in the air where the eagles fly. That's the relevance.
Yes, okay,
Unless you
but
think there's something else.
no, right. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, yes, it is water in the sky, but it's probably like a lot, still probably like lighter than the birds, I assume. I don't know.
Are you saying that water weighs less if it's in particulates than if it's touching?
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know the physics of the whole thing. I'm just asking questions. I don't know.
Well, the physics that we know of, to the best of my knowledge, are very good at predicting when flight will happen due to upward drag because of air pressure and speed. And that includes the wings of eagles. In fact, we modeled airplane wings after the wings of fowl. That they have a curvature at the top and they're more flat at the bottom, and that's what causes the lift on both airplanes and eagles. And if you watch a duck or a goose take off, they have to run forward and flap simultaneously to get enough speed on the ground in order to get that lift. And it starts off slow and it gets better the faster they're going. So I think there's a reasonable answer to your question already.
Oh, okay, no, I just no, I really I'm not trolling or anything. I really just didn't understand the physics of it because I'm not exactly the most like literate when it comes to science and stuff, as you can already tell, I'm sure. But I was just asking questions. I really am, like my name says, just skeptical. That's it. And I also too, like I was saying,
of everything.
yeah,
and you also
right.
mentioned human beings being upside down.
Yeah, like for example, Australia is on the bottom of the globe, right? How is it that they're not standing, upside down since we're on the bottom?
On a globe Earth model, they are standing upside down to people on the opposite side of the planet. In fact, everyone's standing upside down to everyone who's on the opposite side at any point.
But that just doesn't make sense. How is that even possible?
Because the center of gravity is in the center of the planet. On a globe Earth model, everyone's pulled toward the center, which we like to stand up and be able to walk. So we push our heads away from the center and stand on our feet, which there are humans standing in 360 degrees in all possible azimuth all over the planet in a globe Earth model.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I just can't seem to wrap my head around the fact that I'm literally standing upside down, because it doesn't feel like I'm standing upside down. It feels like I'm standing right side up, and I'm not moving, and like the Earth is not moving. Like it, I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
It's because of a
One
theory.
second.
It's because of a flawed theory called gravity, which has never been proven.
Sovereign, we have two choices when it comes to the appearance of gravity. I think you'll agree with me. Either there's upward movement of what we're standing on, and that's why we jump, and then we meet it again. It meets us actually when we jump, right? Or that there's something pulling us toward the center of the planet. Now, no matter if you go with the gravitational model, then you can have a central location. If you don't go with the gravitational model, just like when an elevator is going up in a building, you can jump and the elevator will meet you, right? But what does that mean? That means the elevator's moving upward. But to always have that at all points, you need the constant acceleration of that disk. Because think of an elevator, when it gets to the top and you jump, you fly up in the air quite a distance because you were already traveling, and then you come down and you meet it again. So you would need constant acceleration of the disk. Do you believe in constant acceleration of the disk?
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
You can't have the effect that you're talking about.
There's no movement whatsoever. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait. Listen.
Okay.
There is never a condition where an object is not subject to a medium. Okay. The medium you are in, listen to me. The medium that you are in right now is air. okay, your relative density in comparison to that air, in other words, that which you displace, weighs more than the amount of the medium that you displace. Therefore,
I outweigh the air. Yes.
Right. So you go toward the relative density that you represent as an object. Okay. And that is, of course, down. Now, if you increase the medium to a density to where what you displace now weighs less, right?
Then I become buoyant and I'll float on it.
Right. That's exactly right. Now, if you get to a point where it's exactly the same, then you're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be ambient.
Equilibrium.
All right.
Yes.
So everything is trying to obtain equilibrium. Everything, constantly.
I don't know why you would say that when things obviously are not.
So yes, they are. Everything succumbs to entropy. Everything.
Entropy is not the same thing as equilibrium.
It is. Equilibrium is because of an unbalanced force.
I still want to ask you a follow-up question.
Okay.
Wait, I just have one more thing to add. Why is it that the different gravitational forces don't contradict and conflict with each other? Like, for example, why doesn't the sun, with it has the greatest gravitational pull in our section of the universe, right? So how is it that it doesn't contradict our moon's gravitational pull, and also like Jupiter has a higher gravitational pull than us? So how come it doesn't contradict like our? You see what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Why don't these different gravitational pulls like contradict each other? And like, why doesn't the sun pull all the water from the earth like out towards it? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I would recommend that you look into Birkeland current sheets for the answer to that. That was Birkeland current sheets for the answer to that. And there's a solid answer to your question. I'm not going to try to explain it right now. It's just, and I'm in the middle of Sovereign here. Sovereign, you said some things with lesser buoyancy will tend toward the bottom of the liquid, whether that's water or air. And when I say liquid, I mean in physics. Yes, we agree. Good. Okay, why does it tend toward the bottom?
Because that's the condition set. Okay, there's a very, I would say, weak vector that's indicated through electrostatics that sets the vector, sets the condition, and the rest, buoyancy and density, sorts it out.
So you're just claiming it's electromagnetism, if I say it fundamentally and simply as possible.
It's static. We can actually.
It's electromagnetism. Static is a form of electromagnetism, is it not? So you're claiming electromagnetism. Are you aware the best scientific explanation today for the effect of gravity is electromagnetism?
Buoyancy and density sorting it out. Yes. There's no single cause.
I mean, you can repeat yourself, but you obviously didn't hear what I said. Do you want a follow-up question?
No, listen, I'm telling you what I'm saying. Okay. I'm not worried about what the fuck.
I was able to paraphrase what you said as you said it. I obviously understand, and you agreed with my paraphrase.
Because you're now indicating that I'm saying that the electrostatics is a singular cause. No, electrostatics is not a singular cause. It merely sets the vector. That's all.
So one question. Okay. Your answer of whatever form of energy you want to talk about was to one specific question, which was, why does the denser object tend to go down toward the surface of the earth? Right. That was the only question. I felt like you answered it.
Okay, cool.
But what I'm saying to you is the best scientific explanation. If you read scientific definitions of the word gravity, you will find 100% of them are symptomatic. Mm-hmm. Gravity does A, B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. You will never find a causation in their definition for what is causing the gravity. Electromagnetism is its recent science. It's still on the edge. It's not mainstream. It's not widely accepted. But as you said, electromagnetism seems the answer.
Okay, it's been known for a long time. Perhaps you were familiar with the little story of Benjamin Franklin and his kite with the key and all that. What do you think he was doing? He was showing that there was
an idiot.
Okay. Nevertheless, he was showing that there is this connection, that there is positive electricity in the atmos that can be transferred to the ground. and often is through the expression of lightning strikes, over 1,000 per hour everywhere on the earth, in fact.
And I assume that you're also aware there are sprites,
Yes,
and that lightning
absolutely.
and sprites travel
Yep.
in both directions to
Yep.
and from the surface. Thank you.
Yep. Right. Exactly. And why is that? Because of two polarities, right? There's a positive and a negative
Well, there's
polarity, right?
there's an energy gradient. There's a
Okay.
differential.
All right.
And whenever there's a gradient, and like your entropy quote, things tend to want to become balanced. Electricity is one of those things.
You ever shake out a towel from the dryer? Forget to put a
I
dry
don't think we
towel?
need static electricity stories.
No. What I'm just saying is right there. When you get closer to that towel, the more it wants to stick to you, right? There's a gradient there too, and the further you pull it away from you, the more the weaker it gets.
That's a
So
force
what?
of attraction. That's a force of
Okay.
attraction.
All I'm saying is that sets the vector.
I'm just kind of surprised. Sovereign, I'm just kind of surprised that you're not into electric universe theory yet.
No.
Have you ever looked into it? Because I think you're agreeing with it unknowingly.
I would have to say that fundamentally everything works through the basics of electricity. I mean, it's what holds everything together. Everything is us talking right now is symptomatic of the electricity that we produce through the consumption of calorific intake. And so I can run things. I mean, right now, this is all through electronics. Just my biological activity is electronic.
Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that aspect of it. Absolutely. I think that the sun and the moon are actually fundamentally electric.
They're nuclear fusion. They're nuclear fusion plants.
Yeah,
the nuclear fusion.
Sorry.
Well, this is the thing about the sun being nuclear fusion. You first have to get to, they say first a mass of hydrogen got together. How does a mass of hydrogen form under any conditions whatsoever?
Gravity.
So wait a second. Gas molecules being unbonded to one another for some reason decide to, hey, let's all hold hands and bond to one another for no apparent reason. And
they don't have thoughts. They don't have thoughts.
Well, gravitational
the gravitational force overwhelms any other forces that they might have to keep them apart.
Force of what?
The mass of hydrogen.
You can't have a mass of hydrogen without containment.
All hydrogen has mass.
No, only in a contained volume.
No, always hydrogen is an intrinsic mass is an intrinsic property of all atoms.
Gases do not form into cohesive masses for any reason whatsoever outside of containment.
There is no law in physics that says that. You're just
demonstrate a volume of gas without containment.
The sun.
If I can time in, it's the principle of gases that they have to be contained to
There's
form
no
a mass.
law of science that says that.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Yes, natural law dictates it. Go ahead.
There's no such law.
A gas under no containment will just keep spreading and never agglomerate as a mass or something.
That's wrong. Gravity will bring the gas together. Yes, it does, because gas has mass.
You've not demonstrated.
It's a logical argument.
It doesn't matter. You're just.
It's a logical argument, Dave. Gas has mass.
You're making a claim.
Dave,
you're making a claim.
Yes.
I don't believe mass attracts mass anyways. There's no proof of that.
How do we explain? If mass does not attract mass, how do we explain the stability in nebula?
That's all a theory. What is a nebula?
No, it's observed.
You're looking at some shit through a telescope and telling me that it's a big ball of burning gas or some dumb shit like that.
Yeah, it's observed. Yeah,
no, sir, I said nebula, not star,
or whatever it is. All right, it's a guess. You don't know what that is. You can't tell.
Yes, we do know what it is. We can do spectroscopy and we know it's composition.
No, you cannot.
Yes, we can. All you have is nuh-uh.
Pseudoscience.
You've never proved a single thing. You just go nuh-uh.
Pseudoscience bullshit.
No,
you
physics
can't
is not
Yes,
pseudoscience.
it's just
you
it's just a measurement on an electronic device, and then they deduce that there's a nebula and the whole theory. But at the base, it's
No,
just
we
a
observe. We
deduction, an
observe
observation
nebulas.
on a tool that is electronic, and no one's
No, that's not
never
true.
saw a nebula with
Yes,
his eyes.
we have photographs. It's the Horsehead
Oh my
Nebula. The Horsehead Nebula is a stellar nursery, and we have photographs of stars being born.
Oh my God. So until you can, your fairy tale fantasy bullshit is really interesting and all, but can you produce a volume of gas without a container?
Not in the presence of the Earth.
No, you can't.
Not
you can't.
yes, it
So
could.
you have no
demonstrative.
So you have absolutely no demonstrative proof of your hypothesis.
I already told you, gas has mass.
That's also another unproven hypothesis.
I can prove it to you. You take a scuba tank. You take a scuba tank that's empty.
It doesn't matter. Mass does not attract mass.
You take a scuba tank. You fill it with. You fill it up, and it weighs more.
No one has ever observed mass attracting mass. No one.
Can I just ask Sovereign Soul a question? Do you think that atoms have mass?
I don't believe that. I'm not convinced that there's anything called atoms. I think that what they're referred to as atoms are nothing more than
we literally take pictures of them. We literally take pictures.
Hold on a second.
Show me one.
Go ahead. Okay, is that Wild Heart? Is that your name? Wild Heart?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that atoms don't exist.
I don't know that they exist. I don't know that they do or don't exist. Have you ever seen one?
There are like Yeah, I've not personally, but
no, I haven't either.
So anything you haven't seen, you don't believe?
No, I'm just saying you'd figure if there's something that they obviously can contain and split, that surely there would be some way of being able to see it.
Yeah, we can see atoms. There are electrons.
How do you know if you split one? How would you know how to split one? What would you use to do that with? I mean, you see, you understand the problem?
You use the nucleus of an atom to split another atom.
How do you find a nucleus of an atom if you can't find it?
You peel off the electron and then you accelerate it to a high speed and you smash it into the nucleus of the other atom, and that breaks apart.
Show me an atom.
That happens in every accelerator. That's
show me a picture of an atom.
No, you go look. This is elementary school.
I have.
Elementary school.
Been able to find one. You're the one telling me that they're a real thing that they can peel.
One second.
Google photograph
one second, everybody.
Of an atom.
Okay, Brenda. 1 second, everybody. Wild Heart. Let me ask you a question. So, what was your point about the atoms? So, like, you wanted to ask whether Dave believed in atoms or not, and then if he doesn't, and then what? And then what?
It doesn't really matter whether he believes in them or not, but we can see them. We have electron microscopes. Electron is smaller than atom, so I'm presuming that we can see atoms. If we can see electrons, which are smaller than atoms, I'm presuming we can see atoms. I don't know why he's denying that atoms exist.
Well, I'd like to see a picture. I mean, if it's an electron microscope, only takes a picture. So I would really like to see a photograph of these electrons. And,
so,
that
so
kind
basically,
of thing.
So basically, if Dave doesn't believe that atoms actually exist, are you saying that he is not being scientific, or he is being irrational based on what you are trying to demonstrate here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool theory. I think it's neat. But as far as, is this really something that actually exists? And I'm told that they can be manipulated and peeled and all this other nonsense and everything, but nobody can even come up with an actual photograph of one of these things.
A photograph of
Okay, hold on, everybody. 1 second. Pirate, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to take this example about atoms to to explain and the idea of science and how it became a religion and just a belief. So we have today the model of atoms and the periodic table. When we observe in reality the chemicals and everything, it's more complicated. Even the electrons, an electron is not non-observable as matter, and we have made quantum physics to explain why this electron is not observable as a matter particle. So the thing is, so here a science guy will say, yeah, we know about the atom, we observe, it's observable. How fool you are to say it doesn't exist. So that means you just in a belief, and you don't realize that the periodic table is just the best model we have today. It's the best explanation we have today. But any real scientist that is actually in studying it for real will tell you it's just a model, and we don't even grasp 1% of the observation we see, and it's just the most satisfying model for now, but we are still constructing
false.
it.
That's completely false. Not only
But tell me why.
we can predict the properties of materials based on the periodic table.
Yeah, but
Wait, but isn't all science tentative and subject to change? So it's
Like I
all
told you,
it's all theoretical, isn't it?
It's an inductive inference to the best possible to the abduction is inference to the best explanation.
The whole classification, the whole classification of the element is based on the observation of the electrons circling around the atoms, and that's how we know, counting the electrons. That's how we know which atom it is, and that's how.
Than that. It's P chemistry is a lot more complicated than that, but basically for the elementary school crowd, yeah, that would be it.
Okay,
yes,
1 second.
And so
1 second. Yeah, we're gonna move on. Go ahead, finish your thought, Pirate, and then let me give the mic to Wild Heart over there. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just to say, someone who's not actually versed in chemistry or physics will just believe in it like 100%. It's true. It's scientific, and it's true, and it's in the marble. But someone who's actually a real scientist will say, no, it's just a model, and we're still evolving about what is an atom, what is an electron, what is matter, and yes, that's it.
Real scientists know what a scientific model is.
It's not your turn yet. Wild Heart, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Sovereign Soul. So you believe in the periodic table?
Well, I think just like he just said, it's a best representation that we have at this juncture in time. Let's not forget it has changed over time as well. It's not the periodic table. If you look at one from say 1936 as opposed to one today, it's different. They're measuring things a little differently. It's still a good theory. However, I have to go along with this. Look, there's two categories that you can put things into. There's belief, and then there's actual knowledge. Okay, you can put in one
told
category.
You that's wrong, David. That's
Brenda,
wrong.
Brenda, it's not your turn, man. What is your problem, dude? All right. So I go with what I can actually know. All right. And then in the belief column, you can have that even subjected into strong belief based on evidence, or just belief because you have to look at the measure of where that belief comes from. Okay. So I disagree with Brenda on what belief versus actual reality is. Okay. Because you can believe whatever you want to, like the red car is what causes my mail to be delivered. That's only a belief. I don't have the empirical evidence. I have only the evidence at hand that I've made a deduction from. Okay, so
that could be an induction, not deduction.
Evidence
is inductive, not
okay,
deductive.
whatever.
Tomato, you don't know tomato. Even elementary logic.
All right, Brenda, whatever. Go. Just
right.
Eat a Midol. Chill out.
If you know something, do you think it's true?
Was it your fucking turn to talk, Brenda?
If you know something,
I'm sorry,
is it
was
true?
my talking getting in the way of your fucking interruption?
Yeah, but if you know something,
yeah,
is it true?
was. Okay, I'm sorry.
Is it true?
What is what true?
I know A. Is it true, A?
I don't know. What do you know?
Well, you don't know. So you say you know if
you're
A.
You're not even making any sense, Brenda.
A is just a variable. So if you know A, is it true that A?
Well, what is A?
It's something that you know. Is it
true?
Okay.
Well, obviously, if it's something I know.
Is it true?
If it's something I know, then it is, yes.
It's true.
If it's something
so
that's
you believe it's true. So you have a belief. So you have a belief that it's true, right? So you have a belief
that it's true whether I believe it or it's true whether I believe it or not.
A belief is mental thought that you hold to be true.
Truth is truth whether you believe it or not.
That's just a tautology that doesn't say anything. Yes, it literally is a tautology. Brenda. You don't know the first thing about reasoning.
You fucking interrupted me because you're a rude bitch. You really are.
Yeah, I don't care.
I know you don't care.
You just want to pontificate and sound like you're smart and